This is my BMW i8 and it's almost 10 years old. That means no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So let's modernize this entertainment system and make it a lot more useful for daily driving.
So how does this work exactly? Well, I will be installing this CarLink Life NBT add-on to the car. So we're not going to be removing any features from the vehicle. We're simply adding CarPlay. So inside we have the manual, and here we can see the product list. This is the coder box, so this is the important piece. We'll of course have the power cable, a few other cables that may be useful, and of course there are instructions on how to get this installed, but this is not vehicle specific. So I will show you exactly how it's done on this car in this video, of course. But what else do we have in here? Well, we have the big main cable. This will be plugged into our head unit in the vehicle and then plugged into this unit that I'll show you in just a little bit. We have this LVDS cable, so this will be our optical cable for the screen. We have an antenna, a couple other cables for USB, and you can also add a camera or reversing camera if you like. This vehicle already has one, so it's just going to use the existing one. And this is the actual device, the actual decoder box. And as you can see, it is the CarLink Life. We have the Wi-Fi port on the back here, a couple ports right here. So we have the CAN power, USB video, toggle switches, so that can change the resolution and the size of the screen, LVDS in, LVDS out. That's pretty much it. So it's pretty simple. Of course, you have to get the correct version. This is the NBT version of the unit. You can also get CIC or the Evo ones. That will depend on your vehicle. But for this specific BMW i8, between 2014 and 2017, this is the one that works for it. So our goal in this video is to install this add-on box to add wireless CarPlay and Android Auto to this BMW i8. And typically that's pretty easy because you just have to run a couple of wires and connect it to the screen, connect it to the head unit, and you're done. In this vehicle though, to get to those items, well, we have to remove this entire center console. So it's going to be quite a bit of work, but I think it's pretty doable if you take your time and maybe worked on some BMW interiors in the past. Let's get started. Our first step will be to remove this cup holder, which will give us access to 2 screws that we can then remove and remove this whole section. Then we'll work on this piece next. Of course, BMW recommends disconnecting the ground lead on the 12-volt battery, as well as de-energizing the high voltage system. So do that first if you're not comfortable. This will just pull out like that. And now we just have 2 what looks like 10mm bolts. And now this whole unit should be able to slide out, but it just goes like that. Ooh, it's pretty nasty in there. And that removes 2 more nuts right here. To remove the rest of the center console, we have to remove a couple of extra screws. There's one under this little liner. There's one in here, and there's one in this little cubby right here, just right there. And we'll be using a T20 Torx socket for this. Of course, it's never as easy as it sounds. I'm gonna remove some of these other screws that are behind this liner. Maybe that will give me a bit more space because it seems a bit stuck. So there are 2 more screws right here and a 10mm nut. Well, that makes sense. I forgot the 2 more screws that were under the little grommets. I'm gonna remove those as well. Now it should be, there you go. Now this whole unit can come out and we can disconnect the connector on the back here. These are the 2 connectors. Now this whole center piece can come out. We've got to be careful, of course, because we need to get underneath and disconnect all of these connectors right here. There you go, comes out. Some of them might have some gunk in them and be a little bit stuck. That is what it is. So they're all different, so it'll be very difficult to plug them in incorrectly, but still take a picture or remember which one goes where. And there you go. Everything has been disconnected. Next, we'll be removing the gear selector, and it's just 4 screws right here, same T20. And the reason we are removing it is because we need to remove it in order to remove this entire console. That's it. This thing is just a little electronic box. This is one of those you have to squeeze to remove. There you go. And finally, we just have a couple of bolts left, and I think this whole thing should be able to pull out. So like I said, you definitely need to be comfortable removing stuff from your car, but it's not complicated, just finicky mostly. And there we are. This whole unit can now be removed from the car. Of course, there are a few more cables holding it in the back, but honestly, I'm not even gonna disconnect them. I will just leave them like this. Next, we'll be removing this head unit, and it's just held in by these 4 screws. So I'm gonna remove those. And now this whole unit will pull out like that. Gotta be careful, there's a lot of wires in the back. Perfect. And now we can actually bring the kit from the unit that we have purchased and start plugging stuff in. Well, after we remove the screen as well. Removing the screen is not difficult, it's just getting in there that's difficult. So we have to remove this little plastic cover. There you go, that pops off. And now we just have two little screws in there. I don't think my drill is gonna fit in there, so I'm gonna get a small screwdriver. There's one. Got the other one. Now the screen should come off. There it is. And the last piece to remove will be this trim piece right here. I don't think there are any screws or bolts holding it in, so I'm just gonna use the trim removal to pry it off. Maybe slightly more gentle than that. You can leave it hanging, but it's probably easier to just disconnect it so it's not in the way. It's only a couple of connections here. And the reason we did this is because we need to feed this cable down under here so we can connect it to our add-on box. First, of course, we need to disconnect this cable. There it is. And now we need to feed this cable all the way down there. But before we do that, I want to connect a piece of wire so I can then pull our other cable up here coming from the actual decoder box, and it'll be much easier this way. So I'm just going to take a piece of cable, piece of wire, it could be a zip tie, anything you like. As you can see, the cable is going behind that little support piece all the way around and down. So it'd be really difficult to feed the new cable in that way. So this will be the replacement cable that came with the kit. We're going to compare the ends. So this end went into the screen. So this end will go up and to the screen. Now let's just try to get it back in through those passages. That part's done. We can reinstall the screen by just plugging in the new connector here. Perfect. And I'm gonna put the screen in. I will tighten it later once I know everything is working. And now it's time to deal with this bundle of wires. Obviously this bundle of wires looks very complicated, but basically what we are doing is just putting an add-on box between the CAN bus of the car, the head unit, and the screen.
It's actually simpler than it looks. First, you disconnect the big connector from the head unit, then transfer the green and black optical cables from the removed connector to the same connector that came with the unit. With the swap done, we can plug the new connector into the head unit and then plug the original connector into the female end from the kit. Next, we take the plug on the other end of the wiring loom and plug it into the decoder box where it says CAN power. Lastly, the LVSD cable that was originally plugged into the screen gets plugged into the same color connector, which is the video input signal. And the green cable we connected to the screen earlier will be our LVSD out. With everything connected, now we can test it to make sure everything works before we put it all back together.
I will temporarily connect the start button as well as the iDrive controller. Let's try it. Press start. The screen came on, so that's really good. That means we are getting the signal coming from the head unit to the screen. That doesn't necessarily mean that this is working yet, but at least it's passing the signal. The controller is still working. That's great. And now I'm gonna press and hold menu for a few seconds to see if we can jump into this unit. All right, and look at that, it's working. So that's awesome news. Yeah, the controller works in here as well, very smooth. So it says I need to connect to Bluetooth first. I just want to make sure the audio is working. Devices showed up here. I'm gonna hit pair, allow. All right, it says connected over there. Gonna go back, go to, and there it is. CarPlay is not working. Sweet, let's play some audio. We're gonna switch to aux front. Success! With everything tested, all that's left to do is reassemble the car. And yes, there's a lot of steps, but it shouldn't be as hard as taking it apart. And if you're wondering if we need to connect these wires right here, well, you would if you were connecting cameras or if you want the USB cable. So if you want to do wired CarPlay, you can install this, run the wire somewhere in the bottom, or you can get another cable, like a USB cable to your phone. I'm not going to use that, so I'm not going to be installing this wire. Just one last thing to worry about. And the last thing I'm going to do is just install this Wi-Fi antenna.
And that's it, we assembled the car.
In my previous videos installing similar devices, I've had questions about plugging in the auxiliary cable into the auxiliary input in the vehicle. It is not necessary on this car, as it says right here, for series 3, 4, or 1 and 2, you would have to do that. For this car, you don't need to. And clearly we've already tested it and we saw that the audio is working just fine. So we should be good to go. So first things first, we need to hide all of this wiring somewhere inside of the car. There's a lot of wiring. I wish it was less, because here it's not really needed. A short wire could have worked just as well. Then the unit itself, I'll put it flat on the bottom here. So here's what that looks like. Let me bring you in a little bit closer. All of that wiring is in the back. The unit is flat here, and that should give us just enough space to put the head unit back in. Let's give it a try. Not enough space just yet. So I'm going to try something else. I'm going to shove these wires, the super long wire, through here. I can always hide it in there. There's enough space. And see if that will help me put it in easier. And then I can put the wire back in where I find the space for it. Okay, we're finally there. Well, let's see if I can find the space for all this stuff in here. All right, so yeah, still plenty of space in there. Let's see if the panel fits. All right, no issues there. So I just spent the last 15 minutes cleaning this up and now it looks a bit better. It's not perfect, but it's definitely cleaner. And look at all this disgusting stuff that came off of it. But now we can install it back in the car. All right, let's put a couple of these screws to hold the shifter in place. Excellent. All the wiring is reconnected. Make sure all the wires are out of the way. And of course I put the screws back in behind the display. Now I can put this little piece on top.
With everything reinstalled, let me quickly show you how it works. So I'm going to start up the car. It goes to the main screen, your original BMW screen. Now if I press and hold the menu button, it will jump back to the CarPlay, or we can wait and it will do it automatically. It usually takes about 10 or so seconds. So the phone connects and you are straight into the CarPlay. Now there is one thing you have to do in order to use the phone function, and that's going back to your menu, to your BMW menu, by holding the menu button for 3 seconds. This will jump between the two systems. Then you're going to go to your phone menu, so telephone, Bluetooth devices, and you will remove your existing phone. So if you've ever connected the phone to this Bluetooth on the car itself, you have to go in and remove it. But let's go back to the main menu of this unit, which shows us that there is CarPlay, Android Auto. We can also AirPlay, so you can stream your phone directly to this display. AutoLink, I think that's the same thing for Android. We also have setup and Bluetooth. So the way to set up your phone initially is just go to Bluetooth, connect your phone to the Bluetooth device from here, so I'll tell you which one it is, and I have 2 of my phones connected right there. But anyway, let's jump into setup and see what kind of settings we have in here. So we have system. You can change your language. You can switch from left to right hand drive. You can also choose to use the car's Bluetooth channel for your audio if you like, but I prefer the way it is right now. It sounds better. Of course, there are options for the smartphone, and this is where you would select between having Android Auto or AutoLink, or from CarPlay to AirPlay. You cannot use both of them at the same time. And yeah, that's basically it. We have a few other options like the display, how offset it is. So if it doesn't fit perfectly on your screen, you can change it in here, as well as the screen ratio. So if you have a wider screen or one of those smaller ones, you can change that in here. But this one comes pre-configured for BMW i8. You don't have to change anything. And there's a cool function here for canceling out the echo. So if there's an echo in the car, well, you can run this little test and it will figure out what needs to be adjusted and adjust it for you. You can also increase the gain on the microphone. We have the last setting here, which is car settings, and this is for reversing settings. So if you go in, you can choose to use the original camera, or you can get an aftermarket camera. So like I said, if the car doesn't have it, well, you can add it through here. Well, that's pretty much it. Now we can just go back to CarPlay, select that right here, and this is basically your standard CarPlay. So if you ever use CarPlay, well, it does all of the same functionality. So there's not much that you get different here. Of course, you have your map, so you can go full screen on the map if you like. You can switch back to this menu, so the split screen. Of course, you can play your music, so if you go to your YouTube Music or Spotify or whatever apps that you use. Of course, I can't play a lot of music here because, well, it's going to get copyright striked, and then I can't have the video on YouTube. And of course, no, you cannot watch YouTube on this or Netflix or anything like that. This is standard CarPlay functionality, and it'll be the same for Android Auto as well. Lastly, I wanted to show you how the reversing camera works. So I'm just going to start the car, and I'm going to put the car in reverse. And as you can see, we get the standard camera, so it just switches back to the original BMW entertainment system, which is just this camera. And then if I put it back in drive, it goes back to the CarPlay screen automatically. You don't have to do anything. Something that's very important for a lot of people is audio quality. I've been driving with this for a few days now, and it sounds really good. There is a tiny bit of minor hiss, so this is volume all the way up. So I think it adds a tiny bit of hiss, but I believe most of these units will do that. So that's something to consider if you're listening at full volume, because if we go to like 70% or so, it disappears. And yes, of course, you can just press play on your phone and it starts playing on the car, and vice versa. So you control it the same way you would on any other CarPlay unit or built-in system in your vehicle. And if you're wondering, yes, the buttons on the steering wheel are also working. So this will switch the songs. If you go up or down, this will switch the song. See, so you can switch the songs like this by just using the scroll wheel. And of course, you can just press the button to start or stop playing the music. And if you press this button, the speak button right here, that enables Siri on your phone. Well, I guess this is a slightly more difficult project for those that haven't tackled installing CarPlays before. But if you're ambitious, you can definitely do this yourself and install Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in your BMW i8. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Like the video if you liked it. Check out this video on how I got this BMW i8 and got scammed doing so. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.